Good evening and welcome to Slam the Gavel, the show that tells it all regarding family court, criminal court, and other court issues, as well as CPS. I am your host, Maryann Petri. You can find me, my books, and blogs on dismantling family court corruption, and my books are on audio as well. And we're here today to talk about what to be thankful for at Thanksgiving. And I'm very grateful for all my guests and viewers. And please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I'm also grateful for an individual for stealing a podcast of mine and making a lot of money off of it while mocking it. So I'm really glad that he could take all of that from me because he must need the money with all his alcohol consumption.
Happy
Theo.
Thanksgiving to you, Marianne. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Brendan.
Happy Thanksgiving to all.
We're starting this off with fireworks right away.
Oh, should I not have said that?
Hey, you say what you say,
Yeah, I
freedom of
can't.
speech and all that. You know what? You learned a lot from this guy. You learned a lot about how you can hide behind freedom of speech. You can
Mm-hmm.
be thankful for that.
Right, right.
Not
And
s- not so much in the domestic relations division, but yeah, freedom of speech, you can hide behind a lot. This guy was pretty good at it.
oh yeah. Well, when you're completely soulless, talentless, you take other people's work and make money off of it.
Even when you don't have any talent or a soul, you can still make money. You should be
Yeah,
grateful to know that.
right, right.
Yeah, there's a lot of things in life that require zero talent whatsoever.
Yeah. Like pole dancing or something. I don't know.
No, uh, I don't know. Some of them are no. I don't know anything about that.
Being on time, things of that nature. Yeah.
I don't have any balance for that.
So I mean, a lot of people like to call it being blessed. A lot of other people I float around with who aren't so holy call it being lucky. But I do want to tell all your listeners out there, like there are lots. If a lot of times people say it's your attitude, so you just say, your attitude defines everything. And you're like, yeah, but when you have 10 people jumping up and down on you, beating your face in, it's kind of hard to be grateful, right? To, you're kind of grateful that the beating stopped.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something you could be grateful for. And kind of the same thing in the domestic relations division, right?
Hmm.
It's like, wow, be thankful they weren't even more oppressive because they can be. And I
Hmm.
know lots of stories. So does Brendan. So do you, Marianne. I mean, we know a slew of horror stories. We
Oh
just did
yeah.
our Halloween episode, right? Not too long,
Right,
right?
right.
And so I'd like to say that no matter how bad your situation is, really, if it's really all that bad, I guess you can be grateful for the one or two things that aren't going wrong.
You have to. Yeah, absolutely have to. I think that's incredibly well said. And of course, as Marianne's touched upon through her podcast, and as has been touched upon, who do you meet along the way,
Mhm.
and who's with you on this journey of the family law court? And incredibly grateful for those people for what they, because when you do feel isolated, when you do feel like, or start thinking, well, I find a lot in my practice, I try to let people know that they're included. Like, look, you're not let's start simple, right? You're not the first person getting divorced. You're likely not the first person in this situation. So let's break it down to where we're starting from, where we're going, and yeah, like okay, there's things flying all around you. Like Theo said, there's six people beating on your face. It's not necessarily grateful, but like let's figure out what's going on.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'd like to take a moment to thank every single bully who's ever tried to bully me or bullied me
Hmm.
because they kind of either showed me that I was weak, that my defenses were down. They inspired me to get stronger and tougher. And like a very good friend of mine, Andrea says, what doesn't kill you doesn't kill you. And if you're still alive, you've got the choice to either make yourself stronger from the experience or to learn, oh, I want to run super far and fast if I ever see another experience like that starting to brew around me again.
Mm-hmm.
Or some people, I like to be thankful that I know that there's bad people out there, thanks to some of the people that I've seen in action who wear suits and walk around the courthouse. Some people actually profit off of bad situations. They probably maybe once were bullied and they turned around and said, I want to be the bully someday. I know what I'll do. I'll practice family law.
Chances are those were bullies to begin with. But
Mm.
as far as that goes, I feel like it also helps when you help. That helps.
Yeah, I when I was going through the family court, I was in a hearing and they took a recess because it always has to be, I don't know, 45 minutes or whatever. So the judge can dine appropriately. But when I went to use the public bathroom in the Erie County Courthouse, I I sat down, I looked up into the light, and I saw a cockroach on the other side of the plastic divider where the light was. And I was thankful that he would not fall on me while I was using the bathroom.
Sometimes those little things in life.
It's just the little things.
My goodness. And did he know that if he became a human being, he could be a family law practitioner?
Probably. Probably when once he it was a cockroach about this big, this long.
Yeah. Usually
They
the ones
they had big ones in that courthouse. I'm not kidding you.
I've seen some really big cockroaches. One was like 6'2" and was wearing a suit and brown shoes. And
Tortoiseshell glasses.
you know what? Did you ever notice when you walk on the domestic relations floor, the fashion show that goes on in the hallway? Aren't you grateful for that?
Oh yeah.
Aren't you grateful that the blood of all these children has paid for those fancy shoes and suits and the latest fashions to be paraded up and down the hallway? Isn't that nice?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Something good comes from it.
Yeah, and I learned
No,
some dressing
not,
techniques. Oh,
not in
what,
that way.
Brendan? Go ahead.
I said, no, not in that way.
Yeah. Huh?
Well, I can also be grateful for the fact that during everything that I've seen and seeing how things actually work in the courthouse, all of my suspicions that were formed from the movies and older gentlemen who used to pinch my cheek with their pinky ring hand, all these things I used to hear, all confirmed pretty much. It's how things really work versus the way they tell you how they work, right?
Mhm.
And so now it's like, oh, wow, you got to thank them for helping you grow up and wise up and see what the world's really like. But
True.
I'm also thankful for the few people out there who tell their clients, no, I'm not going to do that. That's just too scummy. I'm out, right?
Mhm.
I'm thankful for the people that look you right in the face and tell you, I don't like you. I don't want to help somebody like you. Versus the people who don't do that. And they go, sure, come on over here, buddy. And they take your money and they sell you out behind your back.
Well, I think just to add to that, it should be if you're practicing law and you base your client base on who you like or who you don't like. I mean, granted, I mean if someone is acting in a particular way, but either you have a case or you don't have a case. You know what I mean? And then the corruption comes in where you have a case, but what in the hell's going on?
Mm.
That's that's where corruption surfaces its head. Yeah.
I mean, this is the domestic relations division is kind of more like running for political office. It's kind of I like you and I don't like you game, but if you give me a lot of money, I can maybe forget how much I don't like you.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, you give somebody enough money and boy, oh boy, those imperfections they just kind of blur out a little, right? And this is
Hmm.
Yeah.
how it really works. But if you identify with somebody, so there are female attorneys in the domestic relations division who hate other women.
Oh yeah.
There are female judges out there who absolutely hate other women, especially other women who are prettier than them or whatever. And this is their chance to get back at us. There we go. The beautiful Maryann. And then there are men out there who hate other men, who
Hmm.
like terrorizing other men, who like tearing apart other good dads because deep down inside they know they're not a good one. And then you have the opposite. You have men who hate women and they love to just tear up women. They just enjoy it. It's like their reason for being. And you have women, of course, who absolutely hate men. And then you have people like Michael Caruso's lawyer
Mm.
who acted like she was on his side, but wouldn't even get up to shake his hand. And everybody says, sometimes the smallest things mean so much. And she was taking his money and pretending to represent him while selling him down the river
Ah.
and not fighting an ounce for him, right? Because he's a toxic male, because he was in the military, because, dads shouldn't have rights, or, whatever was going on in her head, right? He wasn't the right sexual orientation.
Mm.
Again, she's really cheering for his ex because maybe she's in the exact same spot, or she thinks she is, as Michael Caruso's ex was. But she's like, you know how I'm going to really do it? Instead of telling this guy, I despise you. Oh, I hate the military. Oh, I hate men. Oh, she goes, oh, hi. Sign right here. Let me
Mm.
take your little retainer. She like could barely stomach holding her hand out to shake his dirty hand. And then as soon as he's gone, she's like, boom, boom,
Oh.
boom, 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 selling him down the river and not fighting for him at all.
Wouldn't you pay to be the cockroach in Marianne's example? Just for purposes of to relate to Theo's example, or the fly on the wall, in those circumstances where what's going on behind the scenes type thing.
So I have been a fly on the wall. You know what's funny is people sometimes come right up to me and just blurt out stuff that I'm like, why would you ever tell anybody that story about yourself? Right? Sometimes you just let people brag about themselves,
Mhm.
right? But I have also witnessed in court scenes play out like a guardian ad litem who is supposed to be representing the children
Mhm.
and the mother's attorney, Skippy, who is just a comic character. And she forgets that she has the uncle and aunt of the kids behind her. And she's all excited because she just got a false restraining order against the party she didn't like.
Mm.
And she's totally like practically holding hands like in junior high school with this guy, with Skippy. And she's like, that was so fun. Now, what are we going to do to fight the kids from going to school? And the
Well,
uncle and
in Illinois, that's a big issue. Is you have GAL's role, and
Mhm.
now you have the children's advocate, and they're supposed to be a little bit separate, right?
Mhm.
Because the GAL is supposed to be the court's eyes and ears, right? And supposed to impartially report to the court on the situation. And you don't always see that in cases.
Mhm. Well, I was grateful when I found out who all the guardian ad litems were in Erie, Pennsylvania, because I saw us going down that road. That I figured the opposing attorney with the tortoiseshell glasses was probably going to suggest a guardian ad litem, which is a third party parasite. So I went through maybe three offices, hoping to God they wouldn't charge me a consult fee. And the one consultation fee, I think was $374. But I thought, well, I got to do it. I have to go in there. So I went in there with a sob story and I just kept talking and just, like, uh, just going in circles, when you're traumatized. And so I was doing that to her and she put her hand up. She said, stop. I'm not going to take your case. I'm not even going to charge you this consult fee. This is just too much. I said, oh, okay, well, thank you. So I was very grateful. No one charged me a consult fee, and I didn't have a guardian ad litem.
Right? You should be very grateful on this Thanksgiving that you did not have a guardian. A guardian
Oh
ad litem.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, talk about learning more about how the legal system really works. I mean, I'm really grateful for the education I've gotten this last 7 years and how the legal system really works. In our last podcast, I was saying how I didn't understand I just thought there was civil and criminal court.
Mm-mm.
And it's like the domestic relations division is a court of equity. I'm so grateful that I can speak with authority to other people who are like, no, 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 that's not what happens in court. I'm so grateful that I now know that, oh, the domestic relations division does not operate constitutionally, fundamentally constitutionally, because in most cases there is no option for a jury trial. And there is no way to get this lawsuit. They call you the petitioner and the respondent, but really it's plaintiff and defendant.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason they don't call you petitioner and respondent is, see, I'm so grateful I get to sound so smart about these things now, you
Yeah.
know, is because it's not a real court. It's a big sham. It's a big
Theater.
improv theater scam, right? And you got goofballs like Skippy, who shall remain nameless, but you know who you are, Skippy, who's just a loser who couldn't make it in real life anywhere, but he has a theatrical bone in his body, and he's quite funny to watch when he puts the back of his palm on his forehead and talks about how dangerous the traverse to this local school would be and how bad the school. Oh, oh, death by 1,000 cuts, Your Honor. I'm so grateful that I got to see that entertaining performance by people like Skippy, who are real losers, who couldn't make it in real, more legitimate forms of law, right?
Right.
And so, like, they're in there just doing this, and one's a petitioner, one's a respondent. Why do they call you that? Why isn't there a part in this process where, hey, you know what? This person's suing me. Why? Well, they said that my dog looked like it might bite them someday, so they want to sue me. It's like, I think this is
Yeah.
frivolous. Can
Yeah.
we get this kicked out?
Yeah.
I had one guy tell me that his wife divorced him. Now, what she said was 2 words: irreconcilable differences. Shouldn't we be thankful for that? All you have to do is, you don't even have to know English. Your lawyer can say it for you. Because the guy said his wife actually divorced him because he did not support her interior decoration decisions enough.
Oh.
Just paying for them was enough. He didn't appreciate her interior decoration decision. This is coming from him. Okay. I mean, again, you have to take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Maybe there was more, but he's like, that's why she was divorcing me. Now, if she had to put that on paper, can you imagine what it's like? Could we get this dismissed as frivolous?
Yeah.
But see, if you work in,
That brings up the point. Everybody's got it worse than you do. Now we're fighting over the interpretation of the interior decorator.
You're right.
he paid for it, he let her do it. He just didn't clap hard enough. He
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
like her. So, can you imagine though being a lawyer and going, okay, listen, we're not allowed to say irreconcilable differences anymore. See, I think if you practice family law, you should be very grateful this Thanksgiving where you're carving up that turkey
Yeah.
and, you're wearing your cashmere sweater or whatever you wear at Thanksgiving to show off to your, other family members that you're so successful. And you should be thankful for 2 words: irreconcilable differences, where you don't have to have a client with anything that even smells remotely like a good case. and there's no chance of your case being kicked out ever.
That's a great point. Fault versus no fault.
Yeah.
Different states handle that differently. And technically, even in no fault states, there's no such thing.
Correct.
That hammers on a very, very relevant point.
And
Shouldn't
then
there
if
be
you
a fault?
practice, well, so back in the, like you remember the Perry Mason days,
Mhm.
you ever watch those old black and white TV shows?
Oh
Back
yeah.
before that, there was like fault divorce, right? Like you had to prove you had grounds to want a divorce. Well, it got crazy, right? With the private investigators and this and that. The kid looks like the milkman, and but it was it was ugly. It was very ugly. It was messy, right?
Hmm.
And I get kind of what was sort of behind that whole sentiment. Again, maybe originally a good intention behind it, but here come the people just slithering in and trying to twist and take advantage again, right?
Hmm.
And I would like to say I'm very grateful to seeing how these people make a living out of nothing but smoke and BS, and how I guess they've set a lifelong hobby for me and a passion of looking at their bills. I'm very grateful for them billing their clients the way they do, because
Hmm.
I think there's a little bit of puffiness in those bills.
Uh-huh.
And what I see is huge margins that should be reduced to very tiny margins
Hmm.
for the good lawyers who actually do real work. So
Right.
there's
Or you have a case, for example, where someone admits in a deposition, I don't have any attorney's fees, yet their attorneys keep pleading for fees. Mm, huh.
Yeah.
Not sure where that comes from, but just saying. That's it.
how's that work?
Exactly.
I really am grateful for really stupid, sloppy family law professionals like Skippy and like the little Oompa Loompa troll who is his buddy in a case, and like all these other clowns that I see parading up and down that hallway, because they really are, they're hilarious, number one. Number two, when people really start to wake up to the little game they're playing, they're going to be very, very easy to shut down. And so I just see how unprofessional they are. One thing they could be very grateful for is the fact that their buddies cover for them, and that the ARDC almost never disciplines somebody who's really committing malpractice. And the other thing they can be very grateful for is that they don't have to even be skilled enough to present evidence in front of a jury. Because again, where's my right to a trial? But no,
Nope.
not here.
Not
Wait,
anywhere.
not here. Not on this ship, sir. This is an old wooden ship that we call the Domestic Relations Division. What's our favorite letter here? R.
Pirate ship.
Pirates.
Well, I was thankful for the opposing attorney, the one with the tortoiseshell glasses. And he taught me what theatrics were all about and how to actually impress the judge. So when he started his comments, he was always having his hands up, like Evita Peron. And so I thought, well, I'm going to start copying him. I'm very grateful to learn this technique because that way, when I started doing it all the time like he was, he started looking at me. And then he was like, he stopped. He just had he they started arguing once I won, and then he started arguing with his hands to his sides.
This is
I
like
used to,
this is.
I,
Go ahead,
yeah,
Brendan.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. No,
No,
go
no,
ahead.
you go.
I used to work for opposing counsel in my case,
Oh,
and they're asking me for the same documents they refused to provide. So, which
huh.
is interesting.
So aren't you
Funny.
grateful that you have that interesting story to tell now?
Know your
I mean,
enemy. I was grateful.
they've made our lives so much more interesting. My life was so boring before
Oh,
these people came
yeah.
into my life. I mean, my goodness, how would I know how much I should be seeing my own children? Thank goodness for those professionals telling me how much my kids should see me. Isn't that great? I mean,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
professionals. Professional what's? I'm still trying to figure that out. I think I got to figure it out mostly, right? Thank goodness for the PhDs
Oh,
and the GALs with decades of experience, and Skippy with decades of experience of fake crying and lying. And thank
hmm.
goodness for the judge who was. Hey, I'm really grateful that I got to train a new judge. We had like four judges, and then I got to break in a brand new judge. I paid for her. I kind of feel like I kind of helped make her career. I'm grateful that I got to make her career. You know how new my judge was?
Mm-mm.
She actually brought up the C word, the Constitution,
Not
on the
that.
pirate ship. You're not supposed to say that word on the pirate ship. And then she actually said, this is how new she was. She said, what law, statute, or code allows me to keep these children away from either of their parents?
Hmm.
And then Skippy goes, but you're the judge and you have the power, so just do it. Just do it.
Right.
Nike, just do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because she and so I'm thankful that Skippy actually really highlighted where we really were again. We were not in America. We were not in a lawful court of law that followed anything that even remotely looked like a real legal system. We were on a pirate ship. He was trying to tell her, you are an emperor god. You can do whatever you want. You have judicial discretion and you have judicial immunity. And my judge was so new, she was like, but the, the law doesn't, there's no law that supports this. And Skippy's trying to tell her, like, hey, lady, don't you know where you are? And I'm grateful for funny stories like this. Like when Skippy was in the courtroom and all the lies started to unravel. It was his first trial, by the way, too. So I'm grateful that Skippy got to get his first trial experience in where he could actually act like he's a real lawyer now because he went through a 10-day trial. Oh, oh, oh. And I got to see all his theatrics, right? And at one point, as the lies were unraveling, as Uncle Chuck was in front of him, the real life Matlock, just destroying all their lies and unraveling because Uncle Chuck actually practiced real law in criminal court before, and he's very familiar with more bench trials than jury trials. But Uncle Chuck was just destroying them. And then at one point, he looks over at me and he's like, Your Honor, tell him to stop looking at me. He's scaring me. And I'm like, what? I'm wearing a mask. I'm not saying anything. Are my eyes scary? Are my eyes scary? Is that what it is? I was told I have very sexy, sultry eyes, Skippy. But I'm so grateful to have seen that happen because you know what he did? He broke up the momentum. Everything was unraveling, right? The judge was ready to just be like, okay, what the hell are you doing practicing law? Lady, why are you in here with a clown like this as your lawyer? And Skippy's, I'm scared. Breaks up the momentum. She has to call a recess, has to ask me to sit somewhere else so I'm not scaring him. And I'm like, we have a bailiff who's got a gun, pepper spray, a radio that can call the other bailiffs. I don't know what he's scared. He's bigger than me.
Tase him. He's he looks scary. Tase him.
That's what he was trying to make happen. And I'm really grateful for episodes like this because it's like, wow, like you could be in a mountain of trouble and all you have to do is just be distracting and start crying and all of a sudden everybody's all confused and you might actually get away.
Well, I mean, I was grateful that the 79-year-old bailiff didn't have a stroke while he was yelling at me, threatening to send me to jail after gently tossing paperwork back onto the opposing counsel's desk while he was wearing his tortoiseshell glasses. I was just like, I'm grateful that if I make it to 79, I won't be a bailiff. I don't know what the.
Something to be
Ouch!
thankful for.
Yeah.
Ouch! Seriously. He's like a safety risk to himself, much less
Yes.
being able to keep anybody else safe there. Oh my goodness. Maybe that was his tactic. If you guys have fight broke out in the courtroom, he'd be like, "Oh, help me, Elizabeth. I'm coming to join you, honey." And everybody get distracted and stop fighting and try to save his life, right?
Well, the opposing attorney was probably 6'3", maybe, and I'm 5'7", and I always wore flats. So yeah, the
Oh my
weights
goodness.
would not match. It wouldn't be a fair fight.
Not in the same weight class.
Not, yeah.
Wow. Well, and you know what? I am grateful for all of the martial arts training and the breath work because
Hmm.
I might be sitting behind bars right now. And honestly, I don't think I would be wrong, but at the same time, I'd be behind bars if I didn't have the way to breathe and calm down while
Right.
Skippy and the Oompa Loompa troll JL and even my own lawyers are just doing this like little parade circus and just making me feel like, wow, I might never see my children again for no good reason whatsoever. You know,
Yeah. And then Theo brings up a real good point. I mean, any good fighter knows that if you're in a fight, you have to fight in the arena in which you're with, or that you find yourself involved in. Whether you like it, don't like it, etc. Somehow you have to find a way to, you know, find that resolve and perseverance or that calmness to, well, this is the arena I'm in. It's not my rules, right?
Hmm.
Even if the rules are completely stacked against me, even if they're being applied inappropriately, you know, when I used to coach my kids in sports, I would always emphasize, look, here's the bottom line at the end. You lose like a winner and you win like a winner. Because in the end, who are you as a person? You're blessed to be able to just have a sport, play a game, right? To do anything that you do, start there and make sure at the end of it, regardless of whether or not you like the outcome, show what kind of a person you are, show what's inside.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, in fact, when I was going into prison for non-support because a vice president of a British company feels he needs to have child support while costing me my career as a registered nurse, I went in, I talked to day shift sheriffs, and they even asked if I had any martial arts training, and I was happy to say that I'm a brown belt second degree in Taekwondo. And they took note on that. And I was just very proud of myself and grateful that if something should arise in there, I think I could maybe look after myself, even if I was 114 pounds underweight and a featherweight. I don't know.
at least you had a plan. I didn't know that about you. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so it's funny to see like these how your past, how you could maybe you had a bad experience in the past and it prepared you for something bad later on down the road and how you could actually help coach other people through a bad time too. You could be there for them, could understand. I'm going to say this right now. When Black Lives Matter first came out, I was hearing, what they were saying, and I didn't connect with what they were trying to say very much, right? I was kind of missing what they were trying to say. And part of it was, just not feeling connected to how they were saying what they were trying to say. And then after going, getting my education this last 7 years cost me about $1 million and 7 years of learning here. Now I understand what I think they really were complaining about or maybe should have been complaining about. Like hearing Maryann, hearing that you went to jail or prison after they made you lose your job for money. I mean, they're coming at you. They make you lose your money and then they're coming at you for money. And then they throw you in jail for not having money. Now, you talk about injustice, right? There it is right there. It's like, this is, oh no, the justice system, you know what? You must have done something wrong. You must have blah, 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 right? It's like everybody's done something wrong. Okay. I failed to turn on my turn signal. Great.
Yeah.
Crucify him. Crucify him. Right? It's like nobody
Yeah.
died. I didn't run anybody over. Okay. Pull out your gun and shoot him. It's like, no, right? That's
I
not how
call
we
that,
do this.
yeah, I call that preventing the very condition upon which you're trying to enforce.
Great.
Yeah. So, now I see how the courts really work. I see how the laws, statutes, and codes really work. I'm really grateful for Justice Neil Gorsuch, not because of anything in particular, except for one interview he did with the news channel. And it was about an hour long, and I need to find it and maybe send it to you. But he used the C word quite a bit. He
Mm.
sounded like a sovereign citizen, whatever that's supposed to mean.
Mhm.
He talked about the Constitution right and left. And it's funny because now that there's a bunch of people who aren't happy with who our president is and what they're hearing about him on their favorite media channel, I'm seeing people put signs in their front yards talking about the C word, the Constitution.
Mhm.
And I think these violations make people go, well, wait a minute, this feels wrong. All right. Now, when somebody wrongs you, like you're either going to cower in fear, go, I never want to go back there again and just suck your thumb, say, I never want to think about that again. Or you're going to be like, what hit me? I need to meet some other people that got hit like this too. What happened? What was that? And then figure out what's wrong and then go, whoa, those people that wrote on that ratty old document we call the Constitution,
Yeah.
this is the very same stuff they were trying to stop. Justice Neil Gorsuch talked about the growth in the codes, statutes, et cetera, how it's just the law is just way blown out of proportion. And partially because, yes, our world is getting more complicated. So, yeah, we people do like order. I like going to a parking lot and being able to get through and park because people aren't parking right in front of the doors of the store, right? Like just leave my car blocking the entrance of the store so nobody else can even get in the store, right? And just park your car wherever. And then somebody parks behind me and I can't even get my car out anymore. Having rules like parking lots with lines and having parking laws, these are mostly good things. But then it's like, oh, you parked on the line. Time to take you outside and you
Yeah.
know, right?
We have to be grateful for those lines. Everybody's got to stay in their own lane.
Well, and that's it, right? And it's like, wouldn't you think that the people that have legal training would know where those lines are better than we do? Wouldn't you think that they would know not to break certain laws? Like, wouldn't you think they would know that it's illegal to coach their clients to commit perjury? Wouldn't you
Mm-hmm.
think that it's illegal, that they would know it's not legal for them to steal the opposing side's 401k check and run around with it for days, basically committing grand theft
Mm.
and all kinds of other stuff? Wouldn't you think,
Right.
Skippy? I'm so grateful for Skippy. He was just such a freak show. He was so funny. Wouldn't you think he would know you're not supposed to do that?
You would think.
Well, I'm grateful for the judge who yelled at an attorney, and this made the newspaper. I don't have to follow the Constitution. Well, years later, I end up with her having to go before her when I made the motion to compel to move my case into federal court. And I'm grateful that the judge let us all know that the opposing counsel spent so much time in the DA's office, which led me to believe he was inexperienced in the courtroom. Because when delivering his statement full of lies, I then ripped him to shreds when I made my statement. And I had witnesses in the back. And it was just unbelievable that this guy just he didn't even know what he was talking about. He mispronounced my kids' names wrong. I'm just glad because the judge, she was having a conversation with him saying, "Oh, are you getting more court time?" And I'm going, "Oh, he hasn't had court time." I was so grateful that he didn't know what he was doing.
I have a saying, pray for stupid enemies. You can
Yes.
interpret that two different ways.
Oh,
Of course,
yeah.
you can pray for them, but also if you have enemies, pray that they be stupid. And we do have some stupid enemies. They really are dumb. And so I would like to be grateful for Mark Ludwig waking me up on your last podcast, Maryann.
Oh, yeah.
And I also listened to I can't remember Dave Weigel. I
Oh,
always
yeah.
have such a tough time remembering his name for some reason. Very memorable guest though. So they both woke me up, especially Mark Ludwig though, with talking about the working for legislation kind of thing. Because I really started to stop and think and go, wait a minute, hang on. He's like, no, we have to present it to them so that they, because they're really busy and we don't want to overwhelm them with too much stuff. And I'm like, you know, I think I know what would make these politicians move. I think what we need is another federal incentive program like Title 4D, right? Which creates a lot of slush. See,
Mhm.
they move really fast to make that one because they're like, oh, this is going to be a lot of money just kind of spilling over into the state, like a state like Illinois that couldn't balance a budget if every leader in the state's lives depended on it
Right.
ever in history. We need those federal funds. I've got a new federal entitlement program for you. I call it Title 4Z, as in World War Z. This will be the last Title 4. This will be the
Yeah.
ender of all. You ready? Federal incentives to lock up predatory family law professionals.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I mean, we need extra federal dollars to house these people. If someone points a finger at them and says, he's scaring me, Your Honor, like Skippy did, say, I don't know. He just said you're a threat. We might have to lock you up and take all your stuff just to be sure. And I think we need lots of matching federal dollars, which will somehow, sometimes spill over and get into people's shoes and socks and pockets and things like that. And I think politicians would drop everything.
Theo, you need therapy not to scare other people.
Yeah.
You need therapy to learn how not to scare people.
Oh, that's it. I need to not be so scary. I'm so little. I mean, I'm
And
trying.
oh, by the way, pay for it.
Oh, that's right. Got to pay for it too. That's right.
Right, right,
But
right.
not to forget. Don't forget about like in Colorado. I know somebody who has to pay SoberLink, even though he passed every drug test and alcohol test there was, and he's still paying. And he's got to wear an ankle monitor. Somebody called it an Irish charm bracelet. I don't know if
Oh,
that's appropriate.
Theo, come on now.
That's
What are,
terrible.
what are
I
you
didn't say
doing
this.
with
He's an Irish dude. His last name's Daly. I'm like,
this?
is that is that inappropriate? He's like, well, I'm Irish, so I can say it. This guy's wearing a ankle bracelet. He's got SoberLink. Thank goodness for the family courts creating this new burgeoning industry of, wow, constant drug testing and monitoring that's not needed. Ankle bracelets. I mean, who knows how many families are being fed by SoberLink and all these other jewelry companies out there with the fancy tech on them.
hmm.
Jewelry company. I like that.
I'm sure he's thankful that for the bill he gets every month to pay for this ankle bracelet.
Oh, and he's also thankful because he knows why he had a blood clot in that leg. Yeah. I mean, if he got a blood clot and he didn't have that piece of forced jewelry on his ankle, by the way, this guy's never threatened anyone,
Oh,
ever, then he wouldn't know he wouldn't have someone to sue for that blood clot. And you know what? He actually was he's in an industry where this guy, I'm going to say his name, Michael Caruso out in Colorado. He's in an industry where they would design kitchens and make sure that they're compliant and that they're clean and safe, etc. He got a special tour of Castle Rock's facilities. I call it the extended stay, where he got to personally taste the food for 33 days.
Ugh.
I mean, what a great, like, this is just such a nice exchange program.
Yeah.
They
Well,
got a D minus. They
oh
got a
yeah.
D minus.
Oh, they do. And I was grateful when I was in prison. I was grateful that the food stunk so bad and I could give the food away to these poor women that were addicted to meth and they were starving all the time. I was so grateful I could give up my meal to help them and they would eat that. Yeah. And I was grateful to the guard because I was going after this juice or whatever it was. I don't know what it was, but he actually came up to me. I'm very grateful for him because he said, "Don't drink that." And he said it really quietly, "Don't drink that. That could shut down your kidneys." He said, "Just drink the water." I said, "Okay." I was very grateful to him.
I mean, all sarcasm aside, I really do want to say I'm very grateful to people like Judge, the judge that was in the domestic relations division case that I became very well acquainted with, because I'm very grateful that she had not yet been completely perverted and scared into complying 100% with with what was going on in that floor. And I'm grateful to the few good attorneys like Uncle Chuck, the real life Matlock, who snatched evidence off of a dirty guardian litem's desk that led to a massive lawsuit against a conspirator and like just somebody who probably preys on families right and left. And we snatched a key piece of evidence right off of her desk during a trial. I'm grateful for people like Uncle Chuck. I'm grateful for like the bailiff in my case who, when he says, "He's scaring me," the bailiff who rolls his eyes and gave me just a little bit of right. And I'm
Yeah.
grateful for like there's still a lot of good people like that person in the facility that warned you, Maryann. And I know a few other friends who have also been the guests of extended stays there. And these officers who are there because they want to have a nice pension someday
Mhm.
and they do this job that is not a great job. And I really
No.
appreciate them being there. Some of
Yeah.
them have their heart in the right place and they're actually there really trying to minimize the damage done to people while they're going through this process, right? I mean, I'm really grateful for the few people out there who don't go with the whole corrupt flow. Every
Mhm.
once in a while, someone stands up and you're like, why would you do that? I'm grateful for people like my cousin Frankie in Oak Brook, who is the real life my cousin Vinny,
Oh,
who stood up to corrupt attorneys who are doing stuff that should never fly. And he gets bar beef for it. And now I'm seeing how the ARDC really works. Sometimes, all the time, I'd say most of the time. It's really there to punish attorneys who are disturbing the flow. And the flow
mm.
is peasants paying everyone who has Esquire at the end of their name, not the other way around, right? So my cousin Frankie, shout out to you. You know who you are. There's some good ones out there.
Oh,
There are,
yes.
and I like you said earlier on, Maryann. I mean, thank goodness for this experience because my wife was. I'm sorry, my life, not my wife. My life was a little boring, and now it's so interesting, and I get to meet people like Brendan and you, and um, I get to help people investigate what really happened with those bills while they were going through the most traumatic experience they've ever been through in their lives,
Mm-hmm.
to sift through the rubble and go, hey, here it is. Here's the bill. What happened again? I'm really grateful that the guardian ad litem, the little Oompa Loompa, wasn't smart enough to tell my attorney to mark down that he talked to her when she just felt like charging 45 minutes. There's no record of her talking to him. And she says she was talking to him.
Oof.
I'm grateful for just uncoordinated slobs like that, you know? And
Oh
then
yeah.
I'm grateful for them just kind of letting out who they really are sometimes. It's pretty nice when they actually just show you who they really are. That's what I love the most, is just people just really being themselves. It's fine. Good, bad, somewhere in between. We all are,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And judges are just people too. And they've been and you know what? That's good and bad, right?
Hmm.
I mean, they're just people. And then for them to be given godlike powers over other people's families and having no checks and really no support. Oh, let's hire a guardian ad litem to do the job that I can't do. That I'm By
Right.
appointing this guardian ad litem, I'm admitting that I cannot fulfill the duties of this assignment.
Hmm.
And let's appoint somebody. Oh, and then I'm so grateful that I got to find out how judges get on the bench. A lot of times
Hmm.
they're just appointed by other people who are appointed,
And I'm thankful that I know that.
right? I'm thankful for people like
Information,
Maryann,
information is power.
Yeah.
right? And it's funny because, I I'm thankful to my teachers who cared about me, but they're part of an institutional network of people who just kind of trained to tell us, "Oh, that's officer friendly. He's okay. That's a judge. Of course he's going to be fair and nice, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's a
Yeah.
lawyer. He knows the law. Of course he's going to follow the law." I'm really grateful to the class clowns and to the rebels who broke up the monotony and kind of like woke me up sometimes to go, wait, 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 wait. All this book learning is not the real world. This guy causing this chaos, this is the real world as well, right? It's like good to have both, to be able to recognize it's nice to have order, it's nice to have rules and things that keep people safe and protect them. And it's nice to be also be able to recognize, and sometimes it's the rebels that do it, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm grateful for the rebels.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was grateful for Judge Sambrook exiting my life. The 2 years to the day he took my sons away from me based on false allegations, lies, and deceit, and an unholy alliance. And when I asked God, deal with him, I can't get him recused. I can't do anything. I can't even change venues because that could cost $20,000 that I don't have. And he wouldn't do it anyway. I didn't even bother asking. But I prayed and prayed. And, March 2nd, 2015, he took those poor kids away from me. Then on March 2nd, 2017, he was then answering to a higher judge in a very hot place. Hmm.
And I'm grateful for stories like yours, Marianne, where you finally said, it's too much. I can't do any more right now. And you just gave it to God to deal with it. And then you got the news that Judge Sambrook is no longer with us.
Moment of silence. Okay, so then anyway, I was also grateful for another prison experience. Do you want to hear it? I had an inmate come up to me and say, wow, you've got good skin, so you don't do meth, do you? And I said, no, I don't. I wouldn't know where to get it. I thought that was so cute.
So I'm grateful. I've never done drugs in my life. I always say I'd never pass a drug test because I know nothing about drugs. And now I know, wow, doing meth is not good for your skin. See, This podcast is so informative.
Right, right,
Super.
right. It creates pits in your whole face. It's really, I mean, I saw people in there with that, and I mean, it really should have been a drug and alcohol rehab center, is what I would be grateful if they turned that place into a drug and alcohol rehab center and
Right.
decrease the recidivism rate. If Norway can do it, why can't we? And I was also grateful for my attorney and that I was able to afford him to drive a bright yellow Hummer. So when he pulled into his parking lot and and when I pulled into the parking lot, and if I didn't see his Hummer there, I would then know his underling would be representing me and I would lose the case. I don't know if I said that earlier, only because I got to say it again, because this is what they do. You sign up for one lawyer and they're in with a big law group. And apparently they're allowed to hand you off to
Right.
someone else.
Right. Where's the
And
buck stop?
yeah, I mean, but I didn't know that because I thought I signed on with the bigwig who was going to protect me because
Yeah.
he said he was friends with Judge Kelly. When I found out, when actuality, he's afraid to argue in front of Judge Kelly. That's why I was with the underling and I lost all the time. So I was grateful
You
to know that here I'm funding this guy's automobile while I'm circling the drain.
and obviously he didn't put that in writing that he's friends with the judge, did he?
No.
No. He didn't want to tip off the opposition, right? Is that why? Is that why he didn't put it in writing?
Oh, well, see,
Right.
he knew the opposition very well because they used to be partners in a law firm until that guy, which was our opposing attorney, cheated on his wife and he left the law firm. And my attorney kept his wife on because she's nicer and she's prettier and she's more powerful. And
And see, this is where being the fly on the wall wouldn't have been a behoove us.
right, right. I mean, it's just it's just amazing what goes on in these places.
I mean, once you get to really know these characters and what they're really like, it's like, wow, it's amazing. I mean, I'm grateful that I got to know these people so well. I'm grateful for whoever made the DCBA or the DuPage County Grief, which is a parody of the DuPage County Brief, the DCBA Brief. And wow, did I learn a lot of stuff about the most famous attorneys in DuPage County. And most of them practice family law and seeing who's buddies with whom. And I guess this was all okay with them. They thought this was hilarious, by the way, too. They were just
Right.
literally, yeah, they're just putting it out there. I don't know if you've ever seen this thing, but I'll send it to you. It
Yeah.
is a riot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to send that to me. I,
Oh, you
I
got to
just,
see it.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was grateful that I went to nursing school where I learned that you guys sitting down, projectile vomiting was an actual real thing. Like, I did not believe my instructor that this could actually happen because, is it made up drama like in the movie The Exorcist? So when I was in prison, what happened was I was not given my prescribed medications, which is a human rights violation. And I'm very thankful that I know that. But I was very grateful. I was sitting with my back to my little cellmates when I had projectile vomiting from them not giving me my medication. And I was not facing anyone. And, I'm just thankful I did not puke on a bunch of people. I
So
know,
many
That,
things to be thankful for.
that's incredibly kind and gracious of
I know, yes, yes.
you.
But yeah, yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. I couldn't believe that happened to me. I had no idea that was going to happen.
I mean, thinking about being grateful for the bad things that didn't happen. I know a guy who's grateful that he didn't push on the wrong pedal in his car when his ex's attorney would walk in front of his car in the courthouse parking lot. He did this like dozens of times too. It was almost like he's like, "Kill me, please," in my life. Sorry, you might have to edit that out. But it's like the attorney was like wanting to die or something. He kept on walking in front of this guy's car, and this guy's like, "Okay, okay, the brake is on the left, yes, push on the left."
He didn't a reminder.
My goodness. I mean,
Yeah.
the crazy stuff. I actually ran into an attorney at the grocery store today who worked for a firm that I had dealings with, and he wasn't. I never worked with him personally, but I heard this story, and he's actually not that bad of a guy from what I hear. But I heard this story how one of his clients tried to well, one of their clients assaulted them. Is that fair to say? And he
Mm.
hit this guy in the head when he wasn't looking. And then he had the other attorney, the name attorney's son, who is not a great person, had him on the desk and was trying to like squeeze the life out of him. And
Whoa.
this other guy, this older gentleman who got hit in the head, unfortunately, because he was associated with these guys, is a nice guy. And
Mm.
I'm glad he's okay because he's one of the people who doesn't play the whole disgusting rattle the opposition with false allegations and, intimidate people and treat human beings with respect,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm glad for people who have that attitude like him. His name's Bob. There's another guy that I used to train. He was one of my private students, and he's a police officer in a town nearby. His name's Dominic. He was in the mall with his kids and his wife, and this guy who kind of had tattoos and looked a little sketchy looked over at him, and he said, "You're Officer Dominic." I won't say his last name. And he said, "Yes." And Dominic's always packing. He's ready, right? And he's ready. And he's like, he goes, "You arrested me 2 years ago." And he's like, "Okay." And he says, "I'd like to thank you." He's like, "All right." And he's like, "I was in a bad spot. I was going through some bad stuff. And you know what?" He goes, "Everybody else treated me like trash. You were the first person who treated me with respect while you're processing me." He's like, "And I never forgot you. And I was just glad now I got my life cleaned up and I got a job and I'm trying to get away from these people that I was sucked in with, etc. So thank you." And he's like, "Okay, well, thanks for that." And he's like still looking around like, is this a setup or something, right? Yeah,
It's,
Wow.
it is it's nice when you hear from other people like that. Uh, like that, no money in the world can buy a thank you. You know, that's for sure.
Right. And
correct.
I'm thankful for my attorney after I won in the Superior Court. She was a Supreme Court attorney, and I was very grateful to her for defending me. Where if I was by myself, probably nothing would have changed, even though I won in the Superior Court. I'm so grateful to her because she saved my life. And she was so good that, we waited a year because we wanted to know if he would make any other moves and that I would need her. But she refunded me $1,400 of my retainer. She was that good.
That's how you know you probably have an attorney who's trying to be honest. They are
Right.
out there. They are,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
Now, 99% of family law attorneys give the rest a bad name, right? But there are a few good ones out there. If you meet a good one, please find a way to pay them, support them. Everybody says, "Oh, they're still doing a bad thing because they're participating in this fake, unconstitutional, illegal system." Blah blah blah. It's kind of a mess. It's really a mess, right? But there's some people in this huge mess, this arena, and they're just trying to do some good, or at least slow down the bad that's being done, and just try to
Mm-hmm.
salvage people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well
Yeah.
said.
Yeah. I'm grateful I met you guys.
Ditto.
Yeah. I mean, I have met so many decent people and, grateful to learn about Title IV B, D, and E and all the damage that does to people and to help them through this. I'm grateful I can at least kind of
And
help.
now,
Go ahead.
well, you're helping a lot of people, Maryann. And don't forget Title 4Z.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Politicians will love it. We'll be scooping up mountains of cash. Family Court Predators Act, FPA.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, there's predators out there.
Send that over to Ludwig. We're going to start legislating. We're going to try to get the legislators on this tomorrow.
Yeah.
As yeah.
It
I
doesn't.
actually there was a group of people that were reaching out to some legislators, and they said, "Hey, we want to brainstorm for some ideas to fix this problem," and blah blah blah. And I replied back, I'm like, real simple. I mean, you just put up a sign above the domestic relations division saying your rights, all human rights, any right you ever thought you had, and here you do not have rights, and anything you thought belonged to you, including your children, once you walk in here, are not yours anymore. That's it.
That's that says it all. And I won't keep you guys all afternoon, but do you want me to end with this one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I had to pick up a transcript because I just love collecting and hoarding my transcripts. And it was a thin one. I think it only cost $28. But anyway, this is after Sam Broke died. Talk about being re-traumatized all the time. So I came down the steps and his courtroom was there. Okay. And then there's a part of the wall there. Then you're in an open area where the elevator is. So I was like looking and I saw this huge, massive painting of him or a photo that looked like a painting of him. And I wondered, what did that cost the taxpayers? So I kind of flipped him off, right? And then I looked up and I saw a camera. So then after doing that, I went like that with my hair and I just ran to the elevator and left. So I'm kind of grateful. I don't think they saw that. I don't think they do anything. Do you think they
Well,
would,
Just
Theo?
well, I mean, you know, if they weren't too busy, probably terrorizing other people at the moment, it's probably low on their priority list, but
Yeah.
you're probably okay. I think you're going to get away with that one.
Yeah. I never went back in there after again after that. That was a last transcript. Bye-bye.
It's, so to all your listeners out there, like it, the trauma, a lot of people have just buried it, right? And they just try to never look back there again. I had a guy call me up who had to go back to court for his son who got a serious speeding ticket. His son was really doing, he really had the pedal to the metal, and he had to go back to the courthouse. And he called me before he went in there, and he's like, "I'm freaking out, bro. I can't go in there. Oh my God." And he didn't even go through a bad attorney engineer custody battle. He went through pretty ugly divorce, a lot of traumatizing stuff going on. But there are a lot of people who thought they buried it or kind of like just left it, but it's
Oh,
still there. And Maryann, a lot of people would look at you and say, "Maryann, come on, it's time to let it go. The guy's dead now," or whatever. This is a process, and it is so damaging. It's incredible, right? I mean, nobody could understand the pain and the trauma caused until they go through something like this, right? And
right.
so if you are someone who's going through something bad, I just got a phone call from someone in Colorado the other day, and it was bad. He
Mm,
was on the phone with the police, and he didn't know where to go.
mm,
And so he calls me. And so if you're going through something bad right now, or if you're having some kind of re-traumatization, I had one guy who actually got called back into the domestic relations division over his daughters who were 21 and 22, their college tuition. His ex-wife was taking him back for that, and he was red. He looked like he was ready to pop. He was about to explode.
Oh no.
And the poor guy, his first name was Pearson. And my brother knew him, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "I thought you got divorced a long time ago." I was like, "I thought I was too."
Oh my
You
God.
know. So I mean, I'm grateful for this network of people that understand. I mean, I'd like to give a shout out to Anthony from my gym, who is going through a really tough time right now. From what it looks like, the guardian ad litem is just dead set against him.
Mm,
It's this ugly episode. He has two different baby mamas that he's dealing with,
mm,
and he's going through a very rough time. And I see his face, and he hasn't seen his kids in months now, and I can't even imagine the pain.
mm.
I can't even empathize, but I'm trying to be empathetic. There's so many people out there just like, what's your problem? Just get over it. Move
Mm.
on. Blah, blah,
Yeah,
Right.
blah, right?
yeah. No, that's incredibly well said, right? So if nothing else comes from a podcast like this, hey, there's people out there. Reach out.
Reach out.
Someone, somebody maybe's been through something that you've gone through, or no, like we were saying at the beginning, how we met each other, how people come into each other's lives. Uh, that's the most important thing.
It is.
Amen.
Yep. Yep. Lifting each other up. So you guys don't jump off, okay? Slam the Gavel's a podcast to help the public understand what really goes on in these courtrooms. I'm your host, Maryann Petri. You can find me on Spotify, YouTube. Please like and subscribe. I'd be very grateful for that. Apple, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google, and other platforms I don't know about. Again, feel free to buy me a coffee to help keep this podcast going. Thank you, Attorney Brendan Burns and Theo Chino, for all of this fun time.
Thank you. Thanks.